Good morning. We're just waiting a few minutes for a couple of attendees to sign in, so bear with us 1 or 2 minutes and we'll start the webinar. Good morning. I want to welcome everyone to PeopleTech's webinar this morning on turning your HR data to improve the performance of the organization. The focus of this morning's webinar is around HR analytics. And as the agenda, I will give you a quick overview of PTG, the participants. I'm Brian Hodzik. I'm Senior Manager for Analytics Practice here. I also have Jan with me, who's an Enterprise Architect, and Mandar, also one of our Enterprise Architects. And they'll be going through more of the technical details. I know the audience is a mixed group of technical and business folks, so we're going to try to mix in both the business and technical side, but the goal on showing you guys what the technical piece is to really, evangelize what the process looks like to build the analytics solution and the things we've done to build the analytics framework around HR. Previous slide. So as the appreciation for you guys attending the event today, we're going to give away a free pass for Oracle Open World 2017 San Francisco. The full pass, including all sessions and keynotes and the customer appreciation event. There's always a big party at the end there, Pro Jam and Keynote Beyond. So this is a little bit of information about PeopleTech Group. We were founded in 2006. As you can see by the slide, we have early experience in the ERP solution space, specifically with PeopleSoft. Our CEO worked extensively with Oracle and the PeopleSoft organization to deliver West Coast solutions, primarily with some global app around East Coast and Midwest, but primarily West Coast was the initial focus. From there, we've grown and acquired several companies, including Practice CodeSmart. We have a UX UI practice from Ramp Group that we purchased back in 2010, and have continued to expand, including acquiring Firesoft most recently as part of our data center modernization service and hybrid cloud. Just to add a little bit more about our biography and footprint, we're a 1,000+ employee organization. We have offices in U.S. and Bellevue, Olympia, Detroit, Santa Clara, Reston, and Houston, and Asia as well. We have centers of excellence for development in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune, and Singapore, as well as a office in Canada and Dubai. And this is kind of a high-level view of our services. We have many more services beyond this, but this gives you kind of an understanding of some of the service offerings we have. Enterprise consulting services, which is what we're talking about today, as well as in combination with our data warehouse and BI practices. We also have a long history with Microsoft and offer a full variety of services across their stack. Cloud solutions, including hybrid cloud infrastructure, as well as application migration, both on AWS and Azure, maintenance and support services, both from a HR operations space as well as Tier 1 and Tier 2 support for data centers, mobility solutions, and we have a full portfolio of mobility solutions. I'm not going to go into that today, but if you're interested, we can talk more about that, as well as a newer area, practice area, which is, I think, applicable for HR, which is accessibility. So a lot of companies are looking to increase accessibility for folks out there, especially any employees that need those accommodations. And we'd be glad to chat with you more about that if that's an area you have interest in. Next slide, Mander.
Yep.
This is kind of an overview of our portfolio of clients. I'm not going to go into a deep dive into this, but you can see this is a pretty strong representation across both private and public sector. A lot of enterprise accounts, but we also work with some mid-market and smaller accounts as well. So, we can basically bring a solution to the table that it doesn't really matter what size you are, but this gives you kind of an overview of some of the key clients that we have relationships with today and continue to expand. Next slide, Amber. So with that, I'm going to leave this next part of the presentation to Mander to dive into a little bit more about analytics and HR, as well as our technical solution and our framework. I also want to emphasize that we've been very successful in implementing an agile lifecycle process where we do demos every 2 weeks and get continuous feedback and iterate and make improvements on the overall solution. It's been very well received by the business as well as the technical teams. It's a little bit of a challenge in the beginning to make the changes, but we'd be glad to also help you understand the framework around our agile practice and how we bring that forward.
Yep. Thanks, Brian. So I'll take it on from here. And just to mention, we have a couple of questions as part of polls, which would be open for you while I'm presenting some of the slides, and you're free to take those polls. It will be open for 30-35 seconds, and it's simple check boxes you need to check and submit your polls. So during this session, it's primarily I'm going to talk about analytics in HR, and I have like a few technical slides and few actual demos. I won't spend a lot of time on the technical slides, but would be more keen to show you the live demo of the visualization tool what we have that would enable you to make key decisions based on the prediction analytics. So to start with, like, see, when you have an enterprise system with multiple applications that govern your HR data. Hey, can someone put on mute? I'm getting some static.
Yeah, Mander, just 1 second. I just have some questions coming up on the chat window from audience. Bill Charles said the video quality is very bad. Can you use the chat facility, participants, to let us know if you guys are having the same issue, just to make sure that our voices are clear?
Yeah, so I heard some static when you and Brian talking, but I'm using phone. Hopefully mine is clear to audience. And when you are not talking, just be on mute so that everyone can hear. Thanks. So yeah, to move on, as I said, like from your HR applications point of view or enterprise applications point of view, you may have multiple systems that cater to your business applications. It could be like you have like systems which are hosted on your premises or might be on cloud. You may have some payroll running through some vendor as well as some HR applications sitting on cloud, tech performance or reviews happening in some other on-premises. So it's like the core objective here to bring all these integrated systems, data from all these integrated systems into one platform and build your data model and analytics around it. And then in order to get the predictive analytics, we use something called as an R language, which helps to predefine the predictors and the trend that is going to follow, and use the data that is coming out of this data model to use like Power BI or Tableau kind of data visualization tools to view the analytics and make appropriate decisions. So why analytics in HR? I won't spend a lot of time on this, but it's primarily it's your core employee data that defines how your organization would perform based on the employee satisfaction as well as like key employee inputs that drives your business as such. And having analytics around your HCM will help you to build your predictive analytics. So in this presentation or in this webinar, we have like few identified areas for which we have built our data models and predictive analytics on top of it. I won't go through all the focus areas, but one crucial one I have considered here is a quality of hire. When I say quality of hire, it's not just my recruitment process that I would rely on. Like recruitment process, make sure you get through all your applicants and get the best applicants out of those into your organization. But when I'm doing my quality of hire analytics or identifying is my employee whom I hired is a good or bad hire, it depends on various other factors like his performance ratings over a year, over a period of years, or what contribution he has done on few key work, or what overall experience he has, or what length of stay he has in the organization. So all these various factors can help me to identify the quality of hire. So that's the piece which I would drill down in much depth, and I'll have detailed demo around that this particular area. So like this, we have like few other from retention point of view or turnover modeling or the risk assessment from people who are there any good people who could potentially leave prematurely. So that kind of analytics we have built in our solution, but I will be deep diving into the quality of hire in subsequent slides. So in order to get there, we need to build some basic analytics like framework. And so the scope we define is like get the data from HR, recruiting, and payroll related applications, and then incorporate those into my data warehouse system, and then build my high-level dashboards and reports out of it using predictive analytics. So this is not purely a business analytic or an operational report, which is like your headcount or other, but it goes beyond to understand various factors, the trend, and gives you ability to work with the variables, change one variable and see what impact I could get on my analytics. So that kind of exercise we would be doing as part of this particular demo. So when we go through this, we try and understand these 4 different approaches. You need to find out what patterns you have to cluster them together, and then which particular area or parameter would have critical impact on my overall analysis. So what is my driver analysis? And based on those impacts, what risk I would see in my data and identify those, and then combine these all together and see what forecast I could get in terms of identified metric or identified KPI. So to come to technical implementation of this data model or the tool or the visualization, what we have, I won't go much in detail, but we use an R language to model the data. It is widely used by the statisticians, and it's like data mining tool, and it's an open source. I won't go much in detail, but it helps you to build your employee record level data, categorize it by your parameters, and feed it to your visualization tool so that you can, based on the parameters and variables, you can slice and dice the data and get your output. So in our data modeling tool and this particular feature, we use our language extensively to model our data. As I discussed, from overall architecture point of view, you may have multiple systems which are needed to build your analytics. So first piece is like get all those, identify those data sources. It could be like Workday or HCM Cloud or PeopleSoft or SAP HR or something on like from vendor. So or you may have some in-house homegrown built HR application or recruitment or any related. So get all those data sources into your data warehouse and build your business logic and build your data normalization and feed that into our predictive analytics database. So the column you see, destination database, that's the core data model what we have, in which we would plug in your data and feed it into the data model on which we have built the analytics using the machine learning. And those again, those particular analytics data would further feed into the visualization tools like either Power BI or Tableau or OBI. And there you can actually slice and dice the data and see how my analytics and my variables and parameters changes results into my predictive analytics. So we use Tableau, Power BI or OBI for visualization, but as part of this demo, I'm going into Power BI and I'm going to show you live Power BI reports, which we have built for identifying the quality of hires. So as I mentioned, the tools we use on this particular application, we have been using SQL Server as the database, and you can use ETL as MSBI or Informatica or any other Redshift or any other latest ETLs to incorporate the data into our data model, and then you define your OBI or Power BI or Tableau visualization tool. Now, coming to the quality of hires, that is where I'm going to deep dive into today. So, see, as I said, like, it's not just my recruitment process that would define my quality of hire, but it also, we need to go beyond my recruitment process and identify what all different areas I need to look for. So, see, there can be few other parameters that can think of and add here and build a visualization on top of it. But for this demo purpose and simplify and make good use of the time we have, we are restricting to few critical parameters. So, but I'm categorizing those into hiring parameters versus post-hiring parameters. So in hiring parameters, it could be like years of experience the employee has prior to joining the organization, or overall interpersonal skills, his communication, and few other interpersonal skills which would help him to make it to the job. And then the academic records, whether he has bachelor's or master's or what kind of grades he has. So those are like pre-hiring parameters I can think of to define my quality of hires. There could be many more, but for our demo purpose, we are going to concentrate on these. And from post-hiring parameters, it could be many other factors. But we plan to use like employee performance indicators. This is based on your talent management tool where you use your goals, objectives, and define your performance indicators. Then it also would include some manager feedbacks where you will put like grade from or like rating from 1 to 4 and define like what is poor, good, average, excellent, that kind of feedback. So you will have those coming in from your talent management system, the employee productivity. And we can still add few other parameters to it and how the data model is ready, but it can be like your social activities at work, or you can run some surveys and get the data from employee surveys and feed it into the data model and build a parameter around it. So it can be as like you can build in as many parameters as you want, but for each of these parameters, the R language and our tool would go in and define and categorize the data, which will be used in the visualization. So, I mean, at very high level process, I already talked through this, but just to summarize, you may get data from various HR, payroll, recruitment, or any other systems and transform those using ETL into our data model. And then on that data model, we have some predefined parameter, but you can add predictors, but you can add few more predictors based on what you want to define, and then bring in your employee fact or employee data, which defines your employees' experience, skills, interview scores, weightages, or any other parameters that you would like to do your analytics. You bring in those data and then apply those combinations of predictors, which will be done by the R language, and that also defines for each parameter, for each record of an employee, where that employee stands. So that particular activity is defined in the tree model, and that tree model is the core part of your decision-making predictors. So when I say the tree model, I'm just giving a very high-level example. So if I have an interpersonal skills defined as good, bad, or medium, or average, what my tree model does is it goes for each employee record and builds a predefined aggregated value for each of those records based on this tree. So it could go into multiple iterations of all the parameters that we have defined, like interpersonal skills or experience level. So in experience level, if I have less than 9.5 as one bucket and greater than 9.5 as one bucket, it would split the tree into those two buckets, and each of that bucket, again, it will apply the additional parameters with respect to your academic weightages or your interview score. So like that, it goes through the entire tree of all the possible combinations and permutations of my predictors that I want to use, the fact data that I have for each employee, and then the parameters based on which I want to manage my predictors. So each row in your data set is being categorized and identified to go into one of the nodes of this tree. And more the parameters, more the nodes, more the flexibility you get with respect to your predictive analytics. And this is the most crucial part with respect to making the decision. So wider and taller the tree, more granular analytics you do. And that also defines that you have more predictors, more variables that defines your predictors. So in this particular case, we have taken sample employee data. It's a real-time data from, we ourselves run our company on Oracle HCM Cloud and use some of these analytics. So it's a combination of our own company, one of our customers' company data with all the PII data being masked. So we have, like in this particular example, around 16K employees, like 16,000 employees data has been gone through, 34,000 employee data has been gone through this exercise and modeled it using the machine learning language. And with all the population, I'm able to see, like I have around 3K excellent employees, 15K good, 11 average, and 5K is poor. So it's just a static graph, but I'll walk you through the actual examples here. So this is a Power BI report which I'm getting out of my visualization tool after the data modeling is done. And you can see, like, I have filters on the right side where I'm applying academic weightage filter, which is less than 2. And I'm not applied any other filter right now. So with that, I'm getting total 648 excellent employees. So if I'm saying I'm going to define or make a decision for hiring based on my academic weightage, I would know that even if the academic weightage is defined as less than 2, I'm still having some employees who have performed well or who have been like excellent in terms of quality of hire. So we'll see how that particular area changes when I apply various filters on top of it. So I'm leaving my academic weightage filter there as is with less than 2, and I'm changing my experience or adding a new filter, which is my experience filter. So if I apply my experience filter of value less than 3, I can see that, okay, now from that 600 plus excellent employees, those I only 59 employees who are having less than 3 experience, but they are still good because their ratings, their performance has been in good or has been in excellent category through our data model. So when I'm going for my next hiring drive, I can still think of, I can still think like, okay, someone with less academic weightage with value less than 2 out of 4, I can still get an excellent resource onboarded. Further going down, I'm adding some interpersonal skills metric here with, I had defined it under good, medium, low, and when I apply my filter of medium interpersonal skills based on the parameters, based on the weightage or gradings what I have, I can still see like 28 employees fall into my excellent category, like excellent quality of hires. So it's not like someone who is not good, really good at communication would fail or would not be an excellent quality of hire. It's not true. I can see like less academic weightage, less than 3-year experience, medium interpersonal skills, still there are 28 excellent quality of hires. And further, if I again add like performance in terms of like my grading, what I do year on year, I can see still there are like 31 excellent employees in my organization. So I can go back and take out all the filters and I still get at overall. So I just went through very high level in terms of how my data model, which is built using the tree with categorizing each of the employee record into various grades based on the parameter that I want to define for prediction, and changing one parameter over other, I can understand the data better, and which will help me to make my decisions better. So let me switch the screens and let me go back and open my Power BI online tool so that I can show you live about. So here I'm logging in with our generic ID which we use for demo. If you are on Office 365 and Microsoft, you get Power BI plugin available for you, and it also integrates with your Office 365 LDAP, so you don't need separate login to get to here. Right now, since I wanted to show you the login and Office 365, I was logged out. But if you are logged in once and did not log out, every time a single sign-on can bring you directly here, as long as you are on Office 365. So I just made it full screen so that you can see. So this is my so I have this report published to me, which I'm same thing I'm going through. You can see like this is the report what I was showing with respect to the quality of hires. On this bar chart on y-axis I have count of employees, and on x-axis I have the actual quality of hire among average, poor, good, or excellent. Same visualization I'm doing using a pie chart. The data, instead of number of employees in terms of count, I'm getting the actual percentages. On the right top corner, I have the actual data. I may not put it in my real report, but this is just for you to demo that when I'm clicking on one of the bars, that particular grid is getting refreshed with the employees which are falling into the poor. So the first one is the employee key, employee experience, the interpersonal skills grading, the performance grading, and the academic weightage. So I can easily, this is more for my display, and any chart that or any bar I select, that particular grid would get refreshed. Now back on the filter. So now I'll start applying filters one by one. So right now I have a filter which is defined as less than 2 for academic years, academic weightage, and I'll go ahead and add experience with filter for less than 2 years and say apply filter. Now if I have someone with academic weightage less than 2 and experience also less than 2, I'm not getting, because the data what I got has been considered for employees having having 3 or more than 3 years experience. So I'll change it to less than 3 years experience. So for my overall population, I was seeing more records out here for my excellent or poor or good chart, but since I applied experience level less than 3, I could see now 59 employees are following. If I click on that, this particular grade getting refreshed, and I know who are the employees. In this report, I have taken out the employee names and other details just for PII and data privacy perspective. So I can still go with other filters. So if I'm experience already applied, and yeah, the filters what I want to apply here can go into and or mode. So it need not be like it's always going into and I can choose that. So now I'll apply here the performance filter, and right now it is I'll do, since like in the existing criteria of less than 3 years experience, I'm only getting performance as grade B or D. So if I apply grade B, I can see my excellent count has gone down to 31. And same way, like I can add any other filters which are available with me and play around with it. So this is brief for, I mean, we can add more predictors, more variables and play around with it. But given the time what we have and the idea what we want to showcase, we can build our predictors on top of any parameters as long as you have the data captured in your application so that we can model it and bring it on to this visualization. Again, this is the Power BI visualization what I'm showcasing, but it can be easily done on, say, Tableau or OBI or any other data visualization tool. Since we are preferred partner with Microsoft and we are vendor and we sell a lot through Microsoft, so Power BI has been our primary focus area, though like some of our customers like Expedia, we have implemented Tableau specific dashboards as well. So this is more about the live demo. I'll go back to my presentation. And so like quality of hire, we have also gone through the retention analytics, and we have built few parameters like what is the employee cost or from turnover, or if someone leaves, what salaries it has, then what is the age of the employees that are like currently in our organization, then the employee skills level and the level of responsibility. So these 5 or 6 parameters what we have defined to build this analytics. So, and then again, as I mentioned in the previous example, the tree is what defines the flexibility or extent of analytics that you can run on your data. So bigger the tree, more granular analytics you can make it. So yeah, I think with some of the graphs and charts from our Power BI report what we come across. So we are defining our like the predictors. What we are doing is between leaving and staying, and for those perimeters we can see the parameters like star employee, like salary and age, or salary manager relationships, or employee salary and skill levels. So by applying these various parameters, we can see how my analytics is changing, so that the change in analytics would help you to make appropriate decisions. Yeah, so we can have, if you have like further interest and would like to get more details, we can plan a dedicated demo only with your team where we can go through our other analytics and other Power BI dashboards and reports and showcase to you. But just to give you more idea, I have this case studies what we have put together. Like, see, we work with Expedia, as I mentioned, like a travel and leisure company where we had defined their entire HR data warehouse. So they used to run on DB2 and PeopleSoft as their core HR application, but in the data warehouse, they moved out from PeopleSoft and now on Workday. So in the data warehouse, we bring in the data from their Workday. They use PeopleFluent for their recruitment solution. So we got data from PeopleFluent. Then they have ReviewWave is one of their performance rating tools, which is their internal build tool. So we get the employee performance data from there. And Oracle Financials is where they have their fiscal periods for which we need for reporting purpose for, say, headcount reporting by calendar month versus fiscal month or quarters or half year or year end. So those data, we bring it from their financial systems, and then the ETL loads it into the SQL Server based data mart. And we use SharePoint, Power BI for some of the reports, and Tableau mainly for the dashboards. So that's what we had presented, what we had built at Expedia. And we also had some additional operational reporting from headcount perspective, and we just put in one sample dashboard out here just for demonstration. So, and as I said, we also work in Microsoft, and we have built on their HR and learning related dashboard. So this is one of the dashboard. This is purely a Power BI report since it's a Microsoft's own tool, and we use lots of inbuilt Excel features on top of the visualization that's provided by the Power BI. So there is more on what exactly we did at Power BI. So we have another 20 minutes to go. We can deep dive into any particular topic if you want, but we can open this for questions so that like next 20 minutes we can plan on answering those. Yeah, Jen.
Yeah, this is Brian. I just wanted to point out that as you can see through our presentation today, that analytics is a key, and there's a lot of evangelism and communication that needs to go back to your stakeholders in the process. Don't flip the switch on and have analytics. It's a process. So we can help you to get to this analytical vision, depending on how complex your environment is, and evangelize and help build the business case to your senior management. Just want to offer that up as an opportunity to work with you guys.
Yeah. All right. So this is Jen, and I want to open up the floor for questions, things that you want to put on the chat window, or you have a separate questions section that you can use. So we already have one question that I want to read out for you, sir. I'm just trying to get to the question. Yeah, so this one's from Bill Charles. The question is there a minimum number of employees you need to have to get a good set of data, like a good data set?
So yeah, thanks, Bill, for the question. Yeah, so minimum number of employees, it's definitely like more the numbers, more trained analysis you can do. But even if you have, say, like 100 or 200 employee organization, you still need to understand the trend or things with your employees. So from solution or data model perspective, there is no minimum limit as such, but more the data, more analytics you can build. But if you are company of size just like 200 or 300 employees, still you can run these data models and define your analytics and analyze the data, your predictors and analyze the data. So of course, more the even if you have, say, 300 employees in your organization or 400, if you have surveys done, if you have their like performance ratings documented, if you have various factors about those employees being captured at various stages of employment life cycle, then it doesn't matter. If within those 300 employees, you can build many predictors. But if you are not doing something like you are running with 300 employees organization, and if you don't have a system to capture your performance rating, then analytics is handicapped here, because you need to first get that in place to bring your analytics. So, data should be, number of employees should be fine, but more parameters you bring in, more analytics you can build out of it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Amanda, this is Brian. I'm going to add to that a little bit. And with the power of machine learning, you're building a model that's relevant to your organization. So you're finding what variables are the most predictors of whatever outcome you're trying to achieve. And we're constantly feeding that data back into the model to iterate and improve the model. So that's one of the machine learning.
Yep.
So, Bill, I hope that answered your question. And we have a follow-up question from Bill again, more to know whether we'll be sharing this presentation after the webinar. And yeah, we will be publishing it to all the attendees. And Manda, you can add on top of that.
Yeah, we'll definitely share this presentation to everybody who is in the invitee list. And on top of that, if you have any special requests, or if you are planning to do something and would like to get engaged with us on getting some initial thoughts or planning of how you should do or what challenges you have, we are more than happy to help you with that. And we are part of Oracle Open World in San Francisco, in Moscone South Hall. So I'm sure you can come. If you are joining it, we will be more than happy to have detailed discussion. If you're not, we can plan a separate an hour session to go further deep dive into the modeling tool and concentrate more on the visualization. And if you have some additional audience from your organization who today involved in doing some reports and analytics, we are more than have more details. We are more than happy to share those details with one-on-one meetings.
Yeah, and just to add to that, for those who are coming to Oracle Open World, as Mandar mentioned, we are booth 401113, and part of the analytics, we will also have many more live sessions related to enterprise applications and mobile platform and all of our services that we have. So if you are attending, we are most welcome to come to our booth just to address, we can engage to address some of your business pain points.
Yeah, so we will have live demo of this particular analytics, also live demo of Talio implementation accelerator and accessibility and few others. So we will be available, and also we'll share this over email so you have our contacts.
Yeah, this is Brian again. I just want to reiterate that we will be giving away a full pass for Oracle Open World, and all we ask is if you are selected or you're randomly selected, that if you can't make it, let us know so we can give it to somebody that can make the Oracle Open World.
Okay, so we have another question from Tracy Jackson. Does your tool help to create screening or interview questions that can be used to work in conjunction with hiring purposes?
So if I understand the question, let me reiterate the question. So can this tool be used to feed in the interview questions to make appropriate decision? Is that right, Jen? Because your voice was breaking.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you're right.
So I think that's good idea. To my understanding, yes. I mean, we can build algorithm on top of our data model where if you are putting some questions and grade those questions in terms of is that question applicable to what level of expertise, and then based on the interviews or based on the positions that you want to hire, you can get most. I mean, you can build your analytics here so that based on the skill level requirement for the position, it can give you what questions you should be including in your feed. So yeah, I mean, I would say like as is it's not possible, but by defining few predictors and categorizing your questions in various grades and then apply those grades to your expertise levels of your performance, you can do this, yes.
Yeah, to add to that, Tracy, as we go through this exercise, we can come up with any number of use cases that can be put to use, and the outcome of that drives one of as a tool for your question. In other words, the screening of the interview questions can be defined based on the kind of outcome that you get from the machine learning logic.
Hope this answers your question, Tracy.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you. Any other questions from the floor? We'll keep it open for more questions.
Yeah, we want to thank you all for your time today. If you have any more questions, we'll stay on the line a few minutes, but we appreciate any feedback from the webinar today and any questions you have after the fact. As Jan said, we will be sending out the presentation to everyone, and we're glad to engage with you in your journey around analytics as applicable.
Yeah, and since Charles and Tracy had some questions, just out of curiosity, would like to know if you have plans to attend the Open World.
Want to know if Bill or Tracy will be attending Open World.
Okay. All right. So, Jen, Brian, I think if there are no questions, we can hang up.
Yeah. I think thanks again for attending, and we'll hope to see you soon, or we'll be happy to work with you in case of any future engagements. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Have a great day and a great
Thank you. Thank you.